Hello and welcome to the Masterclass, The Power of PR. I'm so excited. My name is Shannon Bonetti. I'd like to thank Leanna very much for welcoming me and having me present today. So we're going to talk a little bit about PR. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with all of you. And I put together this presentation with the thought of generating your own PR. Let me move this down here and we'll share screen real fast. There we go. So let's get to it. How to generate your own coverage and build your brand. Let me tell you a little bit about myself to begin with. My name is Shannon Bonetti. I am the owner and founder of Crossover Communications. I am originally from the Bay Area, but I spent about 10 years here in Nevada, where I currently live, and worked for several different news outlets as a morning news anchor. I worked in Vegas for a little bit. Now here I'm in Reno, where I recently started my family. I have a brand new baby. He's about 8 months now. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself. I do specialize in securing media coverage, mainly local, regional content, but I do have contacts all the way as far out as Pittsburgh, San Diego, and all over the country, actually. So today we're going to cover these three main points. Number one, why invest in PR? The main reasons for creating a successful strategy. Then how to generate your own PR, easy ways to secure your own coverage and generate positive PR. If you have not tapped into the PR world, you are sorely missing out because it is so important to brand yourself and to get in connect, with the public so they know about you and your messaging. Tips for pitching will be the last thing we cover, practical tips for reaching out to those news and media outlets, and then basic interview prep, which is always super helpful. So let's start with what is PR. PR is the practice of cultivating a positive reputation with the public. This is probably the most basic explanation of PR, but it's extremely accurate. You want to have a good reputation. It's much like a review on Google or on Facebook. It's a way of upping your image in a positive way and making sure that your messaging is clear and efficient to ultimately drive sales. Now, we'll talk a little bit about the different forms of PR. Traditional media, which includes broadcast, print, radio, social media, which is extremely important, especially in this day and age. I'm sure all of you guys are on social media. If you're not, I would be shocked. In-person engagements or events are another way to generate great publicity. Obviously, COVID times, you might not be doing in-person events or even showings, but hopefully that will change post-quarantine, post-COVID, and you can get back to that. And then lastly, podcasts and blogs. Even though there are so many influencers out there and so many bloggers, the importance of connecting with those outlets is still very relevant, and it's still a great idea to do if you've ever thought about looking into that. So this is a quick example of some of my clients that I work with that I'm going to share with you. It's just a couple-minute video to get an idea. This is mainly broadcast media that we've secured, but there's some print, and at the end, a couple radio interviews. So enjoy.
Semester often comes with stress and anxiety.
Those are the times that we really need to reach out for services.
Kelly Brothers Painting has been offering free paint jobs to those less fortunate in the Truckee Meadows for over 20 years.
The Epic Weddings and Events team has been busy planning weddings all over the region and just won Best DJ and Best Photographer in the Reno News and Review's Best of Northern Nevada poll.
Local chiropractor Dr. Simeon in to show us some simple tips on how to actually shovel snow properly.
Amplify Life says the bigger facility will help it better serve Northern Nevadans with disabilities.
These warming centers are really a game changer for folks who are out on the streets, really keeping them warm throughout, especially the upcoming season.
So it's making sure that you have a plan, you stick to the plan, life is adjusting, and those money goals are going to change.
We have Shivani Peterson with us right now. You're a mortgage lender in Reno, but you're talking much more than just loans.
We're a group of women that are dedicated to making a difference to our local community.
Lifelong member of the Nevada Wolfpack and former NFL player Stephon Jefferson can now add author to his resume.
After your release from the Tennessee Titans, you went into motivational speaking.
Good day, Midtown Sacramento. I'm Dina Kupfer, and we are here with the mother of macros.
I've been there, I've had nothing, so I really understand what they're going through.
35% of all sales
over the last 2 months were first-time home buyers, which is so encouraging.
The newer facilities, the newer investment will go to that what people think is the highest rate of return. That'll be the facilities that are most needed.
They want to treat somebody to a special self-care day. So to nominate somebody, head on over to their Instagram page.
So it can be integrated in any system. So the age of the home is really not a factor.
With housing increasing, rents, if you own your home and this veteran has locked in their housing expense for 30 years, they have a really strong foundation.
So there we have it. Some obviously powerful examples of how PR can position you as the expert in your field and how important it is to secure that media coverage when it comes to building your brand. So this takes me back to my question, why invest in PR? It'll help build your brand. It'll position you as the expert, as I mentioned. Think about it. If you get placed, say, in Realtor Magazine or on NBC, a client out there that's Googling you is more likely to use you over your competitor, knowing that you are an expert in your field. So it's a super simple way to position yourself in that form. Now, if you have knowledge of something that sets you apart, which we'll get more into later in the presentation, that's also something that you want to highlight. It'll earn credibility. All these third-party publications, they don't necessarily interview people. Like, it's not an ad. I guess I'll go into that later as well, but it'll earn credibility because these outlets are trustworthy, because they've built a foundation on honesty and credibility. So connecting with them and partnering with them and appearing on their broadcasts or in their publication, whether it's digital, print, radio, whatever it is, it will instantly earn you credibility. It'll also enhance your, we talked a little bit about this, building an online presence in some of my other courses. From press releases to interviews, backlinks, your online presence is just going to soar as soon as you start appearing in these publications. It'll also increase your visibility just naturally by showing up. These publications and media outlets get hundreds of thousands of viewers, of clicks, of visitors every single day. So appearing on one of them is going to do wonders for your business. And ultimately, the last reason, because we all want to drive sales, this is what PR will do for you. Generating coverage, my favorite thing to talk about. We call this the organic way because it sort of just happens naturally without the help of an agency, without any pitching. It's doing something rad and then getting noticed for it. So some of the ways that we can generate PR the organic way would include A, sharing your story. Whatever it is, do you have a unique way of how you fell into this industry? Is there something that sets you apart? Think of those things and then share it. This can be through social media. This can be through blogging, writing, whatever outlet you think that you would connect with the audience you're targeting. Get your story out there. Remember, what makes you different and what you can add value to and what you can share and kind of problem solve is going to be the key to securing proper coverage. Next, invest in the community. Partner with a local nonprofit. Or do something, again, that sets you apart from your competitors that will generate the interest of the masses. Now, I'm not talking about like sponsoring a golf tournament or putting your name on a giant flag. I'm talking about hosting a class for maybe veterans who are hoping to get into their dream home. What does that look like? What's the process? How can you be a resource to the community and put yourself out there investing in where you live to make a difference? Once you do that, you'll get noticed by the right people, by the right publications, and PR will follow. Talked a little bit already about offering value, just like you are doing, hopefully on social media. You want to educate your followers and not just post about maybe your recent closing or an upcoming open house. You want to offer value consistently on your social media sites. Also, put yourself out there. Don't be afraid. PR is all about showing your face. I mean, I talk about it a lot in my classes. The audience connects better when they see you, when they see the person behind the business. In retail, I discuss this all the time. The shoppers and consumers want to support businesses where they know the person behind the business. They might like your product, but they really want to support you because they like you as a person. And the same goes for real estate or whatever industry you're in. Make sure you're putting yourself out there, talking, sharing your story, letting folks know what you do every single day, what your routine looks like. Let them get to know your personality and who you are as a person. Also share your awards, list any training that you've been doing that would set you apart from your competitors. Just put it all out there. And then lastly, clean up your online presence. I cannot stress this enough. If you are going to be doing any of your own pitching, if you are going to hire an agency to do it for you, you need to have a clean online presence. I'm hoping you have all Googled yourself at some point. If you're not Googling yourself regularly, you need to be doing so. You need to be checking your reviews. You need to read up on what people are saying about you. If you have appeared on any sort of television shows, podcasts, blogs, written for any sort of thing, read the comments, see what people are saying about your thoughts, and make sure that you have a proper website, proper social media, clean photos that would entice the media and even a buyer or seller to hire you, if that makes sense. Okay, pitching like a pro. This is the part of the presentation where I'm going to be telling you how to pitch the media to secure coverage. This is what we refer to as the earned way because it does take work. You have to earn it. You may enlist the help of a consultant or agency at this point. And this is a good time to mention, I did talk about it a little bit earlier, but PR is not advertising. They are very different. PR, again, is earned media. Advertising is paid media. If you're paying to appear in a magazine, it's great visibility, but your credibility will not be the same as if you were selected and chosen by a journalist to be interviewed and to dive into a topic that you are very knowledgeable about. That's the main difference. Hopefully most of you know that. If you are paying an agency, you are not paying for placements. I can't stress this enough. You're paying for the consultant or the agency and their time, their expertise, their pitching. That's that. Moving on. Let's see. Building a relationship with the media. If you are not following the media, don't even try to pitch them. If you are not aware of how their show is ran, the format of the on-air talent, if you're not aware of who hosts the podcast, of their interests, of their specific topics that they discuss, don't even bother pitching them. You need to do your research. You need to build a relationship with the people you're about to pitch. Follow them on LinkedIn, follow them on social media, comment, like, and put yourself out there to build a relationship with them before you pitch them. Also, very important, know your audience. Are you hoping to reach millennials? Are you hoping to reach folks moving to the area? Are you hoping to reach moms? These people are very different in the way that they consume their media. Studies have shown that moms tend to watch the morning news. So maybe you don't pitch the evening news anchor or the assignment desk that handles the evening topics. You want to aim for the morning show. Millennials, maybe they like podcasts more than they do reading the newspaper. I think that's pretty obvious and pretty well known. So you want to find the audience that you're trying to reach and then pitch accordingly. Don't just blast out content. It's always quality over quantity. You don't want to be just pitching to everybody and their brother, hoping that somebody likes your idea or likes you as a person and wants to interview you. That's not how it works. Know your audience, build a relationship with the media. And then my next point, probably one of the most important, is keep it brief. If you're going to send an email or phone in a potential pitch, keep it brief. I always suggest 200 words or less. Journalists get hundreds of emails a day and they're not looking for a drawn out explanation. If you can get to the point of what your topic is that you'd like to talk about, if it's relevant to the news as of whatever's happening that day or even at that time, if you can tell the journalist why your viewers should care, you're practically going to earn an interview right there. You just need to get to the point and again, talk about what value you can bring and why your viewers should care. Next, be available. Please, 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 please do not pitch any sort of media outlet if you are not willing to drop everything and appear on air by phone, radio, whatever. Sometimes journalists will get a pitch and they'll be like, hey, this is great. Let me call him right now. Or do you have time today before 5 where I can meet you and record this? Don't ever say no. If you want to be on air, you need to be available. That's the bottom line. Sometimes they'll give you a window. Are you free between 2 and 5? But most journalists will say, I need you tomorrow, this time. Can you make it happen? Trust me, make it happen. Next, put your best foot forward. This is kind of self-explanatory, but it goes back to the basics of your online presence. Make sure that's solid. Make sure your website's up and running. One thing that I can't stress enough to folks that are interested in starting PR is they go online or they go on to a TV spot segment. They show up at the studio and they share all about this amazing product that they have. But then the viewers see it, they log online to the website and it's not working correctly, or they can't check out, or there's an issue with supply. You're going to get a lot of interest if you're selling something, if you are, in that sales area industry, if you're selling something, you're going to get a lot of interest. So be prepared for that. Make sure that you can handle the requests and the demand that you're going to get from being on air and from generating that PR. Also make sure that you have experience being on camera, whether it's practicing at home with your phone, whether it's going live on social media. You need to get comfortable with that and put your best foot forward so that you're ready for your on-air day. And lastly, create a media list. Journalists, like I said, they get hundreds of emails a day. Influencers, they're getting tons of pitches. You need to be aware of who you've pitched already, then follow up. Always follow up. Some won't get back to you for days. You might think that they're not interested, but just because they haven't gotten back to you doesn't mean they're not interested in your topic or in you, and you're interviewing you. But you need to just follow up. I can't really explain that any better. It's very important. Give it a day or two and then reach out again. Next, preparing for your interview. Say that you've secured an interview with an ABC affiliate in your town. They call you up and say, hey, be ready tomorrow at 5 o'clock. We're coming to talk about rising home prices in the area. These are the basics. Know that information. Know the information like the back of your hand. Practice it at home. If you need to record yourself, do it. You need to be able to communicate effectively, efficiently, short, brief answers, but thorough. You also need to look the part. Too little makeup or too much makeup can be distracting. Same goes for clothing. Please don't wear bright colors or bulky patterns. Don't show too much skin. I mean, there's like a bunch of different things we can go into on this, but look the part, look professional. Don't wear anything, again, distracting, because we want to focus on what you're saying, the information that you're giving, how you're positioning yourself as the expert. We don't want to be looking at your necklace, for example. Smile a lot too. I wrote that down. I don't want to forget that. Always smile. It just makes you look better, and confidence is everything. So smile and have fun. Next, be authentic. Don't try and memorize anything. This is probably the biggest tip I can offer from a prep standpoint. I have so many clients that are like, okay, I'm going to be on the air tomorrow at this time. Let me memorize word for word what I'm going to say. Big no-no, because I can guarantee, A, you're not going to remember it. You might mess up. You won't come off as authentic, like you know the information. You're going to come off like you've memorized it and that you're trying to hit all these points. That's not good. You might lose your train of thought. You might lose your place in, the script that you have written in your mind. Do not do that. Instead, practice your talking points. Again, have fun. Just be yourself. The journalist chose you because they like you as a person, not because you've memorized something. Also, always elaborate. Most news segments are pretty short, maybe 3 minutes max. Whatever you say, if you talk for 5 to 8 minutes, they're only going to use like 30 to 40 seconds throughout the entire story. So don't stress too much about talking too much. It's better to have more than enough, because they can cut down, they can edit. If you are on a podcast, for example, you might have a little bit more time to explain your thoughts and to share whatever it is you're talking about with with more time, and that would be a great outlet. But depending on which medium you're working with. You need to keep that in mind, but always elaborate because they can cut you off. If they do cut you off and say, we've got enough, don't take it personal, just be grateful for the opportunity and move on. And lastly, this was my biggest pet peeve when I was a news anchor and when I was in broadcast, never, ever, ever plug another company, brand, or person. We booked you, the media, because again, we want to hear what you have to say. We don't want to hear you promoting another person, another brand. We don't want to hear you giving shout outs. We don't want to hear you thanking other companies for getting to where you are. We want to hear you. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you have to say. We don't need to hear you pump up other companies. Just please don't. All right, well, that pretty much wraps up my presentation. The public is the only critic whose opinion is worth anything at all. This goes back to the first slide that I shared that talked about how important public relations is and building your brand, building your image, increasing your visibility. If you can get out there and share your story, generate PR in your own way without having to hire an agency, you're going to go far. If you do need the help of a consultant or an agency, please reach out to me. I am available. I am not currently taking new clients, but I am always willing to help and jump on a call to talk about opportunities for you to help build your brand, help build your business. These are my Instagram accounts. Mrs. _ Shannon Bonetti is my personal, and crossover _ communications is my business. So I thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me today. And thank you again to Leanna for hosting this masterclass. Good luck with your PR, and I hope to hear from you soon.